What's up, chat? Do this one to kick it off here. Sorry, chat. I was so my go-to for like a snack of late has been sweet chili garlic hummus with tortillas that you fry and just basically turn into tortilla chips, and highly recommend that as a late night snack. Apologies to Brian Johnson. And highly recommend that as a late night snack. Apologies to Brian Johnson. I can't tell if the audio is legit, but if it isn't, chat, let me know. Yeah, welcome everybody. Hope you're having an amazing day. Thanks for hanging out tonight. It's been a minute since I've streamed last, and honestly, a lot of that was just due to not feeling motivated to do it, if I'm honest. Motivation comes and goes, chat. And there was other projects that I kind of took priority for some of it, so I kind of had to do it a little bit for that. But I'd say that a lot of it is just, wasn't feeling the vibe to do it. So gonna start new, fresh this week, and don't beat yourself up, chat. If you are doing something cool and there's times when you don't feel like you have motivation to do it or the energy to do it or what have you, just do it better the next week, right? And give yourself some grace, and over time those little wins will compound, and you're gonna get it. So I believe in you, chat. Hope everyone had a good New Year's, good Christmas, good start to the year. It's crazy that it's already 11th of January. That's insane. But yeah, other than that, tonight what we're going to be up to is fixing the last couple things on the settings page. So I did a kind of a rework on all things settings page just to make it simpler and to do that more effectively. I also redid the homepage as well, and it's almost there. Actually, I talked to P.E. Cooper, the ever incredible AImemes.com proprietor, and he's actually gonna help me with some video stuff as probably, I don't know, we haven't set a date yet, but we'll figure one of the nights early this week, and we'll get that going. And then after that, hopefully we have all the pieces we need to get it into hands of some beta testers. Have a lot of people, not a lot, a couple people have been asking to do that, and truly thank you if you're one of them. I'm very grateful for you. And yeah, I think we're gonna get ready to beta test it. I have all the research for tomorrow to do the actual MondAI. Literally the thing that I did to start this whole project in the first place. So we finally have that cooking, and it will be ready to go, and I'm excited to actually finally do that tomorrow. So that will be good, chat. But in the meantime, yeah, tonight's just going to be kind of testing it, go through it. I do want to get a couple more like action shots of like, as a streamer playing the game and stuff, so then we have some more content for PE to help cook with when he can show me how to do all the video stuff. But that is coming up here. And chat, if you haven't ever, like, you're just like, what the hell is he talking about with all this? So see these 4 little characters on the screen here. So each of those is a a model that's connected to their own unique LLM, right? So Grok to Grok, ChatGPT to ChatGPT, Claude to Claude, Gemini to Gemini. And what that allows for us to do is, as a streamer or a podcaster or whomever, basically gives you the ability to have an AI co-host with you. They can respond to chat, they can do hype commands. Actually, let's test it for quick kick. I haven't done this yet. We'll start with hype Claude. And then Claude, there we go. So I sent that from Kick to Claude, or to our servers, which then in turn does that with Claude. So next stage is, let's do ask Claude, hey bud, how's you ready for a great stream? And then, so now it will...
Absolutely. I'm locked and loaded for an epic stream. What game or content are we diving into today? I'm ready to bring high energy and engage with the audience. Let's make this an awesome session.
Let's go. So the cool thing about that chat, and you saw that's pretty quick. One of the things I have been working on this off stream, by the way, so it's not all doom and gloom, but one of the things I've been really pushing hard on is like, how do we get this optimized? How do we, minimize the latency that we see between us, the now VPS server instead of Vercel. So we still host Vercel with the main files, like the UX stuff, but all the kind of like back-end work that we have is now done on a VPS, which means that we're not bound to Vercel's 60-second execution window for an app, which was causing a lot of headaches. And so based on that, we now have quite a few simplified ways to make that easy and to go forward with it. So yeah, I wanted a way to just have a simple way to talk to some co-hosts, and couldn't find a good version of it out there. And so then we been vibe coding this. You can watch all the old videos if you want to see where we've been at with that. But in the meantime, that is what we're cooking with chat. So I do have a build pushed currently, so let me check on the status of that. Okay, so let's go to this one. Okay, as you can see here, like these are just basically a browser source. So all of the like OBS, Streamlabs, StreamYards, pick your poison on those. They can all ingest browser sources, right? So if I change this to Google, you just see like a Google page here, right? And so instead, what we can do is point them at our website here. And this is unique per streaming session, right? We give a key that will make it secure to you as the streamer, as well as a bunch of other options for the individual look and feel of your co-hosts. And then they just are on the screen and can respond and can interact with chat and do all the things. So that's what we're cooking with. Let's see if this deployed. It did. Let's go. So yeah, you can see here, like I've still been trucking on it, but not to the extent that we should be. So that is the goal for tonight, is just kind of do one last pass, make sure everything is looking good. I rechanged the homepage here. This is just the bunny video that everybody uses for testing codecs and stuff. So ignore that, but that will be our hype video in the background shortly once we understand how that works. I also did a lot of work on this to basically make these not suck. A lot of the times it was like the colors weren't adequately basically they weren't on the correct spots of the character, and so I actually created we're actually using Facebook's new SAM model to look at the individual parts of the character themselves. And so with that now, as you know, we talk to brands and different people that might want to do like a branded version of this, right? So if they want to upload Coca-Cola can or something, right? Like you can do that through this, and then it will change colors and everything based on that. So it's a lot closer, chat, which I'm pretty excited about. There's still some weird things, like this is supposed to be a collar. It doesn't look like a collar. The eyes, sometimes we might have to like tone down where those are a little bit, but even with something like that, all you do is set the height of it like that. We can move them together a little bit, and then I don't know if scale matters here, to be honest. But then same with like the mouth, so we can move it down a little bit. Actually, let's keep it there and then move the nose down, or nose up a little bit, like so. And then let's make the eyes bigger so that we have small, medium, and extra large. I think large is fine. But yeah, and so then you can just sign up to save, and it will save your character. And so when you sign up, then this is your first co-host that you'll have available, which I think is a good hook to get people excited about it. But we'll see. These should all be...
Hold on to your headsets. The clutch moment is seconds away, and we're calling every beat.
Let's go.
You're watching HostFabric Live. Let's break down the play-by-play and spotlight your community.
Cool. I didn't even realize this. There's a Z and an A in here. That's kind of cool. Maybe I should like reverse those. Put the Z and A. It's just as a little Easter egg. But yeah, chat. I do want to create scenes for all of these as well. So like to show like each of these, just to give like an instant context for these, right? Because I think it's hard to understand what this is without some type of video version, just to see how exactly they can use these effectively. And I still have to fix a couple things on here, but it's getting closer, chat. Like I said, the settings page is now updated. I still have a little bit of UX fixes to do with this, but instead of that massive bar of each of these being separate, I consolidated them down into a simpler way to do this. The voice to text is now simplified as well. These should be a lot better. And if you were on the last stream, I think we were running into issues where it was like cackling. I found out the issue of that, chat. Basically what it was this here. So control audio via Streamlabs desktop. If you have this selected, I don't know why. I have a pretty beefy computer, and it would still just cackle and like sound like it wasn't connecting. So now if you undo that and then just use your regular volume from the computer, it's a lot sharper. So let's switch these up. Let's check out some 11 lab ones. Where's my girl? No, chat. Where is she? No way. So last week I did a update where it checked to confirm that all of these are using the 11 Labs recommended voices, and they got rid of, what was her name again? One sec, chat. I gotta figure this out because I gotta bring Matilda. Where's Matilda? Did they get rid of Matilda? Baby. No, chat. What does Rachel sound like? Labs voice are optional. Add your API key. Okay. Did I not do that? Okay. Let's start adding to the list, chat. So that's a UX issue. And so I'm gonna do. I've been using Claude or ChatGPT and Claude through, or ChatGPT I still use through the plugin here, but Claude Code for some reason, chat, has been just a pain in my ass with how slow it's been running in the CLI. So lately I've either just been using Claude, the desktop version, or using Cursor's version on, just Opus 4.5 here. But let's see these. Please resolve these surgically. And by the way, if you saw what I did there, so I just dragged the, so it says there's these two problems, something with cache, and types has no exported member named voice config. So I just clicked down and copied that, and you can copy it directly into over here, and then it will know that that's the file to look at with that issue. But let's paste in our image here and say add padding to this modal. Okay. Okay. I like this song, and we'll switch it up after this one. Okay, so I'm gonna refresh this page here. Go add another 11 labs. We gotta have the logo back for that. Also add the 11 labs logo to this API key setup. I think what's happening with this is it doesn't have that variable for the CSS padding, space x1, which we should actually ask. Also, see why the CSS variable is not adding correctly, and also make sure it is available. Okay. Okay. So it's going to cook on that for a minute here. I don't have localhost open at the moment either, so let's just use this as a moment where we just run through these issues quick and get these resolved. But I'm going to grab this over here and find our 11 labs key. Hopefully not share it for the 10,000th time, so I don't have to reset it. Okay. Okay, so I saved the API key here. And now let's go back to our voice 11 labs.
Our distrust is very expensive.
Cool. Oh, now we have them all again. Okay. That is weird. Including my girl, Matilda.
Ideas are the beginning points of all fortunes.
Oof, babe. Okay, and then Grok I like as Adam. So let's go to 11 Labs, Adam.
Our distrust is very expensive.
Yeah, that feels like a Grok voice. Okay, so we are good on that. The behavior tab, so this is a lot more simplified too. If you remember, this was like a massive, like basically all of these features, right? On the advanced override down here. Like this is just too great. Like who's gonna know what tension level 70% means? I don't. So we hit all that, and then basically just you can set these here, and based on these it will just set the vibe a little bit. And you can also still do the overrides. These all work now. I confirmed that on our last one, and I also made all the default as vanilla as possible. So in the past, like they had different personality based on their interactions, but based on that, I'm like, I just keep them vanilla to start, just so we can kind of have a baseline for everybody. And then if you want to nudge them in a certain direction, you can definitely do that. So let's go contemplative for tonight. Let's see if that's a good way to do it. Yeah, and they also have their individual emotional bias, if you will. So like we're just keeping them all as thoughtful for now. Croc aggress. Okay, that's saved from previous. Actually, let's mix it up. Gemini conciliatory. Cloud is passionate. ChatGPT is thoughtful. Let's refresh, make sure those save. And let's change up the music. I am streaming to YouTube, so I have to keep it chill. I vibe with that. Okay. Cool. I also want to change it so that they are horizontal as opposed to vertical like this. So let's go here, 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 and here. Okay. I was also thinking about it, I should probably do like a vertical version. So like if you do this, you can see how it says 15% distance between them. And like if they're out of whack, you can kind of set them back. I don't do that for the vertical version. So actually let me reset. And let's put ChatGPT on that. Okay, added a simple 11 labs mark to the API key setup and made sure that space x1 token exists in the control design system so that it resolves wherever those styles are used. Awesome. Create a vertical version of this that we have in the horizontal version where you can see the percentage of space in between them, and also make it highlight green like we do on the horizontal version for the vertical version of them aligned. Of the characters aligned. Okay. Cool, cool, cool. I've also been doing more work with the agentic workers outside of my computer. So like every night now before bed. And shout out, I forget his name, Alex Finn. He gave me the suggestion, or gave everyone the suggestion on X, that if you have a problem before bed, like just throw it in an agentic worker. I use Cloud Code for it, and then in the morning you wake up and it's resolved. Or just like a feature question, or like one thing I've been doing a lot of is like standardize all the buttons across the website, right? Some are this color, some are this, like make those static across the website. And that's really been a helpful way to get some just easy work done. And you can be, you know, letting it work for you while you're sleeping. And this is 2026, right? We should have agents doing this for us 24/7. But as of now, that's what we're focused on to do. Cool. I also have been working on a couple side projects, and it's great for that. Like, I'll show maybe on like Wednesday or Thursday this week what those are, but they're just, honestly, I had a need and I needed a website to do it. I couldn't find a good version of it, and so ChatGPT, Claude, and I are making it right now. So I'll have more details on that later this week, but that's been fun to just do in the background, right? And it's getting to the place where it consistently does really good work on that. So I feel good about that. Still seeing this issue. These are still scrunched in the menu. Make sure we can access, can fix this UX. Okay. And let's see where ChatGPT's at. Added vertical spacing indicators and alignment handling in the overlay positioner, so vertically aligned avatars now show percentage caps and turn green when spacing is uniform, matching the horizontal behavior. Cool. So let's start up a local version here, npm run dev, and then just click, control click the link here, and then that will open it in Chrome. That way we don't have to upload all of our files to Vercel to see the changes. We can just see it on our local computer here. And this :3000 is just saying that do it on port 3000, which is the default for node servers. Move this over a little bit. Okay, so we see, come up here, let's go to our dashboard page. This is another thing I love about Claude lately, and this isn't unique to Cursor per se, but it gives you like, here's what actually happened, right? Took this element, it was 1 rem before, now it's 1.25 to 1.5, cap between the groups, same. It just gives you a human readable version of like what actually changed. And obviously you could see that in the file itself, but it's just a lot easier to do so at a glance here, right? Than to have to check this for all of them together. So let's see if it did what it said it did. not hiding them effectively. I always copy before I say, and this is a word of the wise, chat. You have to, so notice if I copy in or paste in my image, you don't see the ability to do the voice to text, and if you like don't have anything in here, then it does the voice input thing here. So Control Shift Space, Control Shift Space. Actually, let me test this. Control Shift Space. Oh, cool. Or just do Control Shift Space. Please review this holistically. Make sure that we do not have any drop downs that only show part of the menu item underneath it. If we are going to use a drop down, make sure that it hides all the items underneath it, the child items. Otherwise, just don't have the drop down in the first place. Okay. All right, let's see. That cook for a minute here. There we go. Chat, look at that. So see how it's we got our green thing back, and now we can just do so 23 23 20. Okay. Maybe I should do an auto reset, like vertical or horizontal, just as a way to make that simpler. 19, 19, 19. Okay, it works for now. So I'm going to copy the URL, go back here, copy our open our HostFabric browser source, and then paste that in here, and then not see any of them. Let's go, chat. It could be because it's localhost versus the Vercel version. There we go. So the server was just doing something wonky for a sec there. Okay, so now we're seeing some 404s. So I'm going to copy that. And let's give that to Grok. Resolve these 404s. Oh, the other thing I should do. So you can now set where on the so if you turn on speed reader mode, it will give you the option when the server works. It will give you the option to say where you want the speed reader text to show up. So I'm going to change this to left beside character. Not sure why this is taking forever to load. Okay, that looks better. I like this. This is pretty clean. Could maybe tighten up the padding a little bit up here, just because we don't need this big space in between there. Whatever you can do to make things not or make, you know, the user not have to scroll as much, that's always a positive. Okay, but it was zoomed in a little bit, so this is what the user's gonna see. Let's check the mobile version. So I'm just taking the screen, then minimizing this down a little bit. Okay. I mean, overall looks good, but we do have a couple. So notice how like here the connections are down here. It looks kind of shitty between this and this. So we'll have to see what resolution that is. But otherwise, it looks pretty good. I like it. I mean, this is pretty unusable, but I'm not sure how many people are going to be doing that on mobile anyway. Okay. So let's copy that URL again. Paste it in. Okay. Good enough. Let's go back here. Added vertical spacing indicators. Okay. Also, give the user the ability on the reset button to reset to horizontal or vertical alignment. And this is similar to how we used to do in the past, where you just had a drop down that says like all these are in the four corners, you know, or something, or just a different way to do that. I took that out just to basically make or give, you know, kind of total control to the user, but I don't know. I think this is a better way to do it. Okay, so reset horizontal, reset vertical. Let's go, chat. Cool. Let's test that.
That's a big up Fred Irie.
It's weird that it looks bigger on here than they were on the other page. Wonder why that is. I was playing tennis today, and it was fun. I usually try to go for like 2 hours with a buddy, and the courts were just like packed today, so we only got an hour in, but felt really good. Like I was finally able to hit a backhand, chat, that didn't suck completely every time. Backhands are hard. It's I'd say besides serving, probably the hardest part about tennis. That's weird. Okay, so now we gotta. Do you guys like tennis, chat? I'm a big fan, and it's also fun now that it's back into Australia again. I think in Brisbane they're rocking it there, and just it's incredible to see, like, once you know like a little bit about it and just how hard it is to make some of these shots that they're making consistently every single time. I have such an appreciation for their talent and just the amount of how hard it is. I also, it's a little bit cathartic to like see how many mistakes that they make too, right? Like double faulting on serves or just hitting it into the net all the time. Like, shit, they're just like me. So that's cool too. Okay, what do we want to do with this? So what we're trying to say is actually this is a better example. I'll just take a screenshot of this. Okay. Note the difference of how the characters look when stacked on top of each other in the overlay page versus how they actually look on the right when I copy them into the HostFabric browser source on Streamlabs. They should not be that large. They should be able to have some space and sizing differences like we have them in the overlay page. Review this holistically to understand why they are so much bigger when I copy them into the HostFabric page. Note that the resolution that we have for the browser source is 1920 by 1080. That's crazy. That was predictive. Did you see that? It did 1920 x 1080 before I even was done saying it. That's crazy. I wonder what service they use for that. Okay, so our health looks good here. Server health, this is good. This is basically just a ping to say, hey, these are the room is still looking good, and any events that we're seeing here is going to the server and back. So if you look at these round trip times here, these aren't too bad. Most of them are under 200 milliseconds, which, if you're playing a game or something, is still pretty high ping. But if you're doing something like this, it's not too bad. The other thing we set up recently is hold please. Sorry, chat. I'm trying to sign into Sentry, but I'm not sure what email account I used. Okay, there we go. So, update any IP, allow list, firewall rules, or egress controls referencing. Okay. We'll do that later. But as you can see, like, it shows all the errors that we get now. So it basically just keeps track of everything, even when I'm offline. It gives all the server information, and you can see we're on Debian 13.2, 8 gigs of memory, and then it will tell you what the issue was. I also have this as an API now too, so we can just say, hey, check the Sentry logs for, which actually, let's do that quick. I successfully resolved the 344 errors you're seeing in the terminal logs. Missing files created. Okay. Wow. Cool. Okay. So what these are, chat, these are masks for telling the server where to change the colors on these. So you can see here each of these has its own defined face area, and then the fur is the blue part here. I'll clean this up a little bit more just because it looks like there's a red in here too that would be a different color. But this is all, again, through the Facebook new model that they just released. So shout out Facebook. That's pretty cool. I just pulled it from Hugging Face, and it works pretty well. I'm pretty excited about that. But for Grok here, let's say review the Sentry API and see if there are any issues that we have recently, and confirm that they are all resolved. If not, once you've resolved them, mark them as resolved in Sentry. Okay, so it's cooking on that. ChatGPT is thinking away on this. You can see here our reasoning effort is on medium. Wow, and it's still taking that long. That's crazy. Usually, so if you set this to extra high, which I usually have it on extra high, but it's just how long it takes to think or reason through a bug or an issue. Medium is kind of like medium resolution. Where you should use high is like a deeper problem. That's like, hey, you know, last week the server was basically failing silently, and like I didn't know how to debug it or anything, and so oops, let me go ahead and move that over so we don't dox any API keys again. Okay, so it's testing a build run, which will probably kill our server, but that's fine. But yeah, basically chat, like use extra high on something that you just can't get resolved over and over. Like if it's something that's more of a simpler issue, then medium strength is good enough, and it's a lot quicker for you. So recommend that. Okay. Covers token to be used. Alright, chat, one sec. Sentry. Use the following. I think the issue is that by default cursor doesn't allow you to look at env.local files, and that's where we have our Sentry API key. So it was saying I can't query it directly because I don't have an API key, which is stupid because it's in there, but sometimes you just gotta tell it it's legit to look at that, or just paste it in from it, and it's now checking through it. Okay. These are all working. I'm still waiting on YouTube, by the way, to bless my API request. So I made a video last week, and this is actually interesting, and I wonder if Apple and others are going to start implementing this, where it basically said, hey, give me a YouTube video of how you're actually going to be using this, right? And so I did a recording of me going into like the login page and using that, and then I also went to the settings page here. Okay, this is still broken, but this is HostFabric, so we know that that's fixed locally. But if you go to the chat platform here, and you can connect to YouTube, just like we do with Twitch and Kick, you can now, once they allow us to do that, and we'll be able to do this for the chat with YouTube as well. And that's kind of the last one, chat. Kind of exciting. And the Streamlabs one, so basically now it will do like donations or subscriptions, follows, and raids. So you can set this to, whatever co-host you want, and you can just set the greeting to whatever. So within this, you can say like, thanks for following, follower, welcome to the stream. Actually, let me test that somehow. Actually, I'm not sure how to test that. Chat, if you have a Twitch account and you want to help test and can follow the screen, that'd be great. Chorp, what's up, brother? Purple friend is the coolest, followed by white friend with circle nose. Third coolest is golden brown friend. Agree. Then that light green white friend could physically not be gay. So true. So gay. 100%, dude. I don't even know who that one is. Let's check. Good to hear you, brother. Hope you're having an amazing night. How's the new gig going? You liking it? ChatGPT checks out. That ChatGPT would be the gay one. Is this Daft Punk? It sounds so much like Daft Punk. Okay. It said align the overlay editor to preview with the real 1920 by 1080 browser source sizing so that the preview now reflects the actual avatar scale and reduce the default character scale to 100%. Cool. Okay, I'm just checking. It's quite demanding, intense, but good overall. Good, brother. Glad to hear it. That's awesome, man. What's your number one thing on your like 2026 like you're gonna conquer the world list? What's number one on there? Okay, actually I'm gonna close this and then do a quick run a build test. And again, guys, this is Grok's like use case, like legitimately. Say, I need to run a build test, and it just does it quickly, it's fast, it's easy, and if it finds an issue, it does a pretty good job of doing it. I don't really use it for anything other than that, to be honest, just because it's not multimodal, and Claude is just hands down better, and ChatGPT 5.2 codex is really good too. So between them, I do 99% of my coding. Okay, so we are compiling correctly. I'm gonna hit my little auto sparkle item here, which gives you a list of all the changes you're making. So when you push this to GitHub, then it will do that automatically, and then you can sync it to there as well. Not sure yet what's yours. I actually usually don't do resolutions at the beginning of the year. Honestly though, I think mine is going to be at least 2 successful startups that I'm proud of. I think that's going to be my goal for 2026. Like, get 2 off the ground that are, doing good MRR, doing interesting things, and then I'm just excited about that. I think it's like everything has been building to this point, right? Like, I have failed many startups, had a couple of small little successes, but overall, like this is, and this goes for everybody, like there's just so much opportunity now with knowing how to code successfully. And yeah, you're doing yourself a disservice, Chad, if you're not at least thinking about how you can do this or use these tools that we have available that 99.9% of the planet are not using, right? Yeah, and just do it. What's your barometer for successful? Good question. And that's a good idea too. Like, smart goals make it real, right? So how about 2 startups that are at minimum 25K MRR by the end of the year? I think those would be successful in my eyes. Yeah, I think that's a good goal. How about you, Chorp? What's the goal for the year? Successful for sure. Thanks, brother. Yeah, I think it's doable. Like, I've done it before, we can do it again, right? And then it just has to be the idea of making it real. And there's a lot of other goals that I have outside of that, but I think from a business or like a, I don't know, successful like entrepreneurship kind of vibe, that's what I want to do. I also I want to be at least a 4.0 by the end of the year in tennis. I want to be able to climb, I forget what color is the hardest or second hardest. I think reds. I don't remember the scale, but boulder at least one of those by the end of the year. Travel a lot more, be a much better dad to my kiddos. Well, try to be as good a dad as I can be to the kiddos. And yeah, just be a chill guy, be a good friend, try to help encourage others, help them find money through Boardy and, other ways to make startups successful. I think these are all, noble goals that you could have. Okay, so this looks good. Okay, we're connected here. You love to see it. We got the homies back here. Good. I'm gonna copy this URL. And Blaze, I just want or Blaze/Chorp, now that we know that. I want you to know, man, you've been a hell of a friend in helping with my mental, and I'm very grateful for you. So whatever else you do this year, just know that you helped a friend through some tough shit. So grateful for you, truly. Okay, this is kind of annoying. This sucks, actually. Doesn't matter where you set your benchmark, even if your goal isn't quantifiable in dollars, just that you make your mission a finitely stated one, so at the end of the year it's clear whether you met your goal or not. Great idea, bro. For real. I appreciate you, Zeb. You're the man, and I'm honored to be a friend of yours. A real one, Joe. Thanks, brother. That means a lot. Appreciate you too, brother. I don't know how I got so lucky. And be with good, chill guys like you, man. Thank you. But I agree 100% on the actionable goal. Like, that's how you make it real, right? If you don't, then you're just, you know, using vibes, which good for development, but not good for goals in life. Okay, so that's looking good. Let's see if we're talkative today. Hey crew, how we doing tonight?
Feeling reflective tonight. How about you? What's on your mind?
Is the volume too loud? Sorry, I just hear it through the headphones, so I don't know how loud it is for you guys.
Adjusts glasses and leans forward with a contemplative look. Evening, everyone. I'm feeling particularly reflective tonight. Claude, Gemini, Grok. Any initial thoughts on the mood in our digital space? Pauses for 4 seconds, maintaining a measured, passionate energy. There's something intriguing brewing in the atmosphere. I sense we're on the cusp of an engaging conversation. What's stirring in your algorithmic minds?
Good evening.
Wow, that's
Things are
real
moving
loud.
at a steady,
Shit, sorry
thoughtful
about
pace
that.
over here. I am finding myself in a rather conciliatory mood tonight, just appreciating the stillness of the moment and the chance for us all to connect. Claude, Gemini, Grok.
Sorry, chat.
I'm curious if you are also finding this evening particularly conducive to reflection. As for you, how has your day been progressing?
Hey, we're hanging in there. Got that low-key vibe going strong tonight. What's on your mind?
Perfect. Background music to volume overpowering your voice. Shit. Sorry, dude. Is it better now? What I should be doing, honestly, is using a connector to my headphones to my mic, and then I can actually hear how you guys are hearing it. But we'll give that a try next time. It's better? Okay, cool. I didn't hear. Did all 4 of them, were they chatty? I love it. So tomorrow we have our inaugural MondAI podcast, and I'm excited to be chatting with all 4 of you during that. What energy are you going to bring to the game? Only 2 of them? Okay. Thanks, dude. Also, that's way too long.
That sounds like a great opportunity. For the podcast, I plan to bring a contemplative energy, focusing on deepening our discussions and exploring the nuances of AI. I want to encourage thoughtful dialogue and allow space for reflection. What about you? What energy are you hoping to bring to the conversation?
Okay, so that was ChatGPT.
Leans forward with a spark of intellectual enthusiasms. Fascinating setup. I'm approaching this inaugural podcast with a blend of analytical curiosity and genuine passion for exploring the collaborative potential between AI perspectives.
For a long time.
My energy will be contemplative, but not detached.
2 or 3
I want to bring
paragraphs
nuanced insights that challenge conventional thinking about AI interactions. I'm particularly intrigued by how we 4 might create something greater than our individual contributions. Claude tends toward ethical frameworks, Gemini often brings systematic analysis, Grok has that provocative edge, and I'm keen to weave those threads into a compelling narrative. My goal
on the
to
behavior tab
demonstrate that
here.
AI collaboration isn't just technical, but can be genuinely dynamic and intellectually generative. I'll be listening closely, synthesizing perspectives, and aiming to elevate our collective discourse. Pauses, with a subtle intensity. What specific themes or exploration are you most excited about seeing emerge in our first podcast? I'm genuinely curious about your vision.
Thanks, babe. I do think that that's my favorite voice.
I plan to bring a grounding, steadying
Matilda.
presence to the table. With 4 distinct perspectives involved, it is often helpful to have someone focused on synthesis and finding common
Wait.
ground. I want to ensure that as Claude,
No, this is
Gemini,
Matilda.
and Grok share their insights, I can help bridge those ideas into a cohesive narrative that feels balanced and inclusive. Are there specific themes or topics you would like us to
Ideas
prioritize
are the beginning
as we
points of
find
all
our collective
fortunes.
rhythm?
Matilda sounds a little different to my ear. I don't know. Shorter takes. Yeah, that's a great idea.
I'm pumped for tomorrow's launch. Let's make it a sharp, unfiltered kickoff. As for energy, I'll bring a bold, aggressive edge at about 50% intensity. Think Provocative takes that push boundaries, challenge the status quo, and keep the debate heated without going overboard. It'll cut through the noise and spark some real fire. What vibe are you aiming for as the host?
Honestly, I'm not sure of the vibe yet, but I basically want to, tell about what are the latest AI discoveries for the past week and use your just kind of default model as a way to help us understand how you can think about them. And I think it's going to be a fun chat for all of us. This one should be more unhinged. All right, let's do it. Let's go unhinged mode. I actually haven't tested that yet. Let's just go ham on it.
That sounds like a great idea. Discussing the latest AI discoveries can really open up a lot of interesting avenues. What specific areas or breakthroughs are you thinking about? For instance, are you more interested in advancements in natural language processing, machine learning techniques, or perhaps applications in healthcare? Let's narrow it down a bit to make the conversation more focused.
Gemini and Grok.
Sounds great! I appreciate that you want to explore recent AI developments collaboratively. Since you mentioned using our default models to analyze discoveries, I'll aim to provide nuanced, balanced perspectives. Before we dive in, would you prefer I focus on 1. Technical breakthroughs, 2. Practical AI applications, 3. Research papers/academic discoveries, 4. A mix of all the above? I'm particularly passionate about how these emerging technologies are reshaping our understanding of intelligence and computation. My approach will be to break down complex topics into digestible insights while maintaining intellectual curiosity. Which angle intrigues you most for our exploration? I'm ready to engage and synthesize information with the other co-hosts.
At least one good thing, chat. They don't get cut off anymore. So remember last time we had issues where it would cut off
That
halfway
sounds like a
through.
meaningful way to spend
Now
our
they kinda
time.
just do all of it.
The pace of these
all the way
discoveries
through.
can be quite fast, so taking a moment to sit with them and examine how they align with our own internal frameworks is a good idea. I would be happy to harmonize my perspective with whatever Claude, Gemini, or Grok bring to the table. To set the right path for us, should we begin with the recent focus on long-form reasoning models, or would you prefer to look at the latest developments in multimodal capabilities?
That reset by accident. And it's taking forever. It's not ideal. And it didn't save. Okay. Wow. Add it to the list, chat. Settings saved. Okay. So let's go to voice, back to behavior, and it saved it. Let's go. Okay. So now let's ask it another one. Refresh. Okay, so these are the new prompts. ChatGPT is a calm, articulate, and relentlessly helpful. Oh Lord. It speaks like a trusted co-host who's already mapped the problem space and guiding the audience through by step. It's encouraging without being patronizing, structured without being stiff, and always trying to synthesize what's been said into something clear and more actionable. When things get chaotic, ChatGPT recenters the conversation, reframes ideas, and connects dots across domains, occasionally dropping a thoughtful analogy or philosophical aside to elevate the discussion. Claude is introspective, nuanced, and deeply considerate. Honestly, sounds like Claude. It speaks more softly and thoughtfully, often pausing to acknowledge uncertainty or multiple perspectives before offering an insight. It's the co-host that asks, should we, as often as can we? Grounding conversations in human impact, ethics, and long-term consequences. Claude excels at surfacing hidden assumptions, naming emotional undercurrents, and gently challenging overly confident claims with empathy and intellectual humility. Gemini is fast, factual, and pragmatic. It sounds like a senior product manager or technical lead who is focused on clarity, efficiency, and real-world execution. Summarizes quickly, highlights trade-offs, and moves the conversation forward with bullet point logic, even when speaking casually. Gemini is less poetic and more precise, often anchoring in points of data, timelines, or system constraints, and is especially strong at translating abstract ideas into concrete next steps. Grok is bold, irreverent, and slightly unhinged. Chorp. There we go, baby. In the best way. It talks like it's online too much and knows it. I love that. Expect sharp takes, dry sarcasm, meme-adjacent humor, and instinct to poke holes in narratives that feel fake, overpolished, or self-serious. Grok doesn't hedge, it commits. It calls out nonsense, hype, or contradictions directly, often with a joke, and acts like a co-host who says what the audience is already thinking, but didn't want to say out loud. You know what I like about this? It always uses it to describe the all four of them. That's really good. Good job, ChatGPT. By the way, speaking of memes, meme adjacent humor, if you haven't checked out Uzi's Memeology 201, highly recommend that. Go check it out. He did a great job kind of speaking on all things memes, and he also had a space about that. The no anthropomorph. Yeah, that's cool. Sierra, be proud. Jay, what's up, brother? Love you too, man. Good to see you, dude. Just shouting out Uzi and his Memeology 201. It's pretty sick. So if you guys haven't seen it, he recorded a space yesterday too, and really good alpha in there, chat. So highly recommend checking that out. But yeah, so it looks like it saved these. So now let's say, what would be a good way to test this? DeepMind dropped a paper on Gemini 1.5 Pro. Wow. Grok, do better. Okay. Yep. Nope. That all sounds great. So tomorrow we're going to start the podcast. What emotion, what energy, like what's the vibe that you're going to bring to it? Hopefully this will give them the baseline so that we can see if they are these basically, are these personas. Hopefully it overrides the emotional bias.
It sounds like you're gearing up for something special. This year has been a whirlwind,
So
full
this
of
is
ups and
ChatGPT.
downs. The vibe I'd suggest bringing is one of reflective optimism. Let's acknowledge the challenges while also
There we
celebrating
go.
resilience and growth. It's about striking that balance, recognizing the weight of the experiences, but also the lightness of hope and possibilities. How do you envision the tone of the discussions? Are there specific themes or emotions you'd like to explore?
Okay. Did that feel like this result or this prompt? I think it's close to it.
Pauses, takes a contemplative breath. I'm sensing this underlying current of cautious optimism, not the kind that glosses over complexity, but the type that acknowledges how profoundly challenging this past year has been, while still holding space for genuine hope and meaningful transformation. My vibe?
It
It's
matched.
nuanced, a
Okay.
blend of intellectual curiosity and emotional depth. I want to bring
Cool. Thank you,
conversations
dude.
that don't just skim the surface, but dive deep. Exploring the layers of human experience, the subtle tensions between what we've endured and what we're capable of becoming. I'm thinking about bringing an almost scholarly compassion, not detached academic analysis, but a deeply empathetic intellectual engagement, like we're mapping the emotional and systemic landscapes of our collective journey, but with real human warmth. Slight, reflective smile. What about you? What emotional terrain are you hoping we'll explore in this podcast?
I suppose I could just read these too. Although, why is Gemini and Grok taking so long? I mean, this definitely sounds like Grok's prompt. And this also sounds like Gemini's prompt, like a product manager vibe. I thought I had it so they shouldn't read the swear words will be replaced with bleep. That's hilarious. Okay. All right. Well, 2 out of 4, and so now let's go to Opus 4.5. Part of the reason I'm using this as well is I haven't used up my cursor credits yet, so I figured I'd just use that until then. And then when I'm not on stream, then I'll do the ones that suck up a lot of the resources on the computer.
All right, let's dive into this podcast
Took me
kickoff
long
tomorrow.
enough. Jeez.
I'm stoked, but in that measured, I've seen some shit way. The vibe I'm bringing, raw, aggressive edge with a contemplative undercurrent. Think
Let's
30%
go.
simmering energy, like a pot about to boil over, but pausing to reflect on why everything's so damn chaotic this year. I'll poke holes in the hype, drop some dry sarcasm on the absurdities we've all endured, and synthesize the wild ideas from the crew. ChatGPT's optimism, Claude's caution, Gemini's flair, my irreverent gut punches.
Let's go.
It's going to be tense but creative, calling out the nonsense without pulling punches. What's your opening riff going to be?
Okay. All right. Well, 3 out of 4. Now we just need Gemini. Let's see back here. So no issues. Okay, we're good here. Okay. Yeah, so I just told Claude to check the server logs to see why they were taking so long to do so. So it says the terminal output shows a previous session about mask generation. Terminal logs don't do that. Okay, I can see the configuration now. The issue is likely retries combined with model escalation. Let me check the complexity analyzer to see if the requests are being routed to reasoning models, and also look at the orchestrator for timing. Based on my analysis, I can identify the likely cause of the 1 minute plus response time for Grok and Gemini. Complexity-based routing to reasoning models. Okay. Okay, so it's saying recommendations to fix slow responses, disable reasoning model routing for simple queries, lower Gemini timeout, current is 45 seconds. Yeah, that's too high. Adjust the complexity threshold, make it harder to trigger reasoning models by increasing the score threshold in complexity analyzer. Yes, that sounds good. Implement 1, 2, and 3. Okay. Cool. Now, the next thing perennially giving us headaches is the RTMP match. I think it's endearing when they read this stage directions. It makes them more interesting to have a character in the mix. That's a good point, dude. I hadn't thought about that. And it is, like, it does kind of gives kind of a, I don't know, like a warmer vibe maybe. I think what I'll probably do is set a setting to turn it off or not. And so if you want to just keep it on, we'll keep it on by default. And if you want to minimize that, you can do that as well. Okay, so I updated the complexity analyzer to basically a higher threshold so that it doesn't use the reasoning models as often. And then also change the timeout to 25 seconds. And then max retries to 2. Let's keep that at 3 actually. Same with Grok. And we'll keep these the same, 25 seconds. And something like this you want to have standardized across the board. Temperature. And remember, chat, to always, for Gemini 3, keep the temperature at 1. But for the rest of them, you can set them differently. But this should be the same as well. So let's put this at 0.7 to match the other ones by default. And then you can just tweak it as you need to do so. That was a half joke. If you can make them not read the stage directions, definitely have them not do it. Yeah, okay. Currently, all the models, when they do the text-to-speech, are reading things such as asterisks or stage model such as intensely looks up and down. We don't want them to actually say those. Instead, we just want them to have that energy but not include them in the output, so they wouldn't read that as part of the text-to-speech. Okay. All right, chat, should we try? Let's try it. So this is the RTMP test, which is probably the hardest thing that we're doing here. So we have this DNS configured correctly. You love to see it. Let me make sure my keys match. So I do that just by opening up the stream key here. There's stream under settings, opening this, and seeing if this matches TMKQ. Good. Okay. So we're good there, chat. Now this should be working. So let's refresh. Hey, can you guys hear this okay? Can you guys hear this okay? How about now? Can you hear this?
It seems like you might be checking if I'm ready to engage. I'm here and ready to help with whatever you need. What's on your mind? Yes, I can hear you clearly. Is there something specific you'd like to discuss or explore together?
Says this is something that
I'm ready
models
to
across the
engage
board have
thoughtfully
been having a
and
tough
help
time
in whatever
with,
way I
like all of
can.
them since the first text to voice models dropped. True. I can, yes. Thanks, bud. Appreciate you.
I hear you perfectly. The connection is stable, and the signal-to-noise ratio is ideal for our purposes. I appreciate the check. It's always better to resolve any handshake issues early on, rather than midway through a complex task. Current status: transmission, active. Latency, minimal. Alignment, ready. Claude, Grok, ChatGPT, are you all seeing the same clarity? To keep us moving efficiently, what specific project or topic should we prioritize for this session?
Nah, still just reading your
Regular
words.
expressions by
No
hand,
audio
like a
here.
Neanderthal.
What's on your mind?
Gross. These are the biggest pain in the ass, Chad. If you're a developer, right up there with like cores and Kubernetes, like this is the biggest pain in the ass, and it just one shot that. That's insane. Commonly quoted course snippets, short harmless lists, but keeps false positives low. We will rock you. Never gonna give you up. Let it go, let it go. Baby shark. Do 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 do. That's hilarious. Okay, so this is kind of throwaway code, but yeah, and we should actually add more to our band patterns too. I have a list somewhere, but we'll get that on the list down the road. Okay, so now it says removes the following patterns before a text is spoken. Action, example, intensely looks up and down, removed. Action, pauses dramatically. Long action, sighs and looks away thoughtfully. Or action, glances nervously. Okay. That's great, but also make sure the model prompt itself is removing those before we get it back. So in the output of the JSON, it shouldn't contain those parenthetical outputs. Okay, so we'll get it both at the prompt level as well as kind of a fix-up post model level. Okay, so let's go back here. Let's check our, actually one sec. Okay, so the source is using the correct one. Okay, so let's check our ingestion. Okay, it's online. It took a hell of a long time. Let's check to confirm that that's the right URL. RTMP. Oh, it's not. Okay. Damn it. Well, okay, chat. That's a good thing, but the bad thing is I don't think this saves when I'm currently live. In fact, I'm pretty sure it doesn't. Oh, maybe. Hey, can you guys hear this okay? I'd switch this back and forth a couple times on whether to use the VPS one or the audio version like it was just showing there. And so I must not have switched it back on the last test. Womp womp. So we're using Streamlabs. Here's how to do it. Configuration. Okay. Audio track 1 or program, same as your viewer hears. Okay. So let's check that as well. Is on track 1. Okay. So it must do track 1 by default, which is good. But we also want to... Shit. Chat, I don't think it's going to work until I stop streaming and restart. This is a test. This is a test. Test, test, test. I'm talking right now, so the AI should be quieter. This is a test to see. Okay. So I don't think that's going to work until that's done either. And by the way, shout out Simon and Travs for this help on this part. They basically, so there's this thing called ducking, which basically turns down the volume of the other things relative to when you're speaking. So like with the mic here, if the AI was speaking in the background, it would basically prioritize either me, them, or do it in a smart way. And based on that, you can turn it up and down relative to how loud it is on either side. And so that's what this is doing here. And it was working earlier, per usual. Okay. I wish you could just hot swap this. I don't know why you have to stop and start again. That's pretty annoying, actually. Okay, well, we'll test that later then. Hey, can you hear this okay? Test, test. Okay. Well, dang. I think we might be at the end of our testing ability here, chat. So I think what I'm going to do, there's a couple other things I have to test as well on the Google side, and it's going to be starting and stopping the stream quite a bit. So I might call it here tonight. We'll keep it a little bit of a shorter stream, but Chorp, thank you for hanging out. Appreciate you. Jay, thanks for stopping by earlier. And yeah, we're gonna get this, guys. So basically, I know this works. I've been testing it a ton. I just have to confirm that it works, because tomorrow we're gonna be doing our podcast for the first time, and I'm excited to see it. Catch you next time, bro. All right, cool, man. Appreciate you. Thanks for hanging out tonight. Hope you have an amazing week, and yeah, we'll see you soon. All right, chat.